Is it just me, or is Kylie Jenner like the modern day Marie Antoinette? I mean, they are similar in a number of ways. Both women evoke a similar political and emotional response from the masses, despite being born centuries apart. And I think it'll be interesting to examine the parallels between these two prominent figures and explore what these women signify in current and past culture. Hi, I'm Beverly Hamilton and you're watching my It Girl series. If you like this video, I did a video on the Lori Harvey obsession, and I also did a video explaining how Beyonce amassed her wealth. Subscribe if you'd like to follow along with this series and my other series, and give this video a thumbs up if you're hot. Now, back to Kylie Jenner and Marie Antoinette. Okay, so we're gonna have to rewind a lot. Marie Antoinette was born November 2nd, 1755 in Vienna, and Kylie Jenner was born August 10th, 1997 in Los Angeles, California. Both were the youngest siblings in their family, and both women had an extremely comfortable early life. I mean, Marie Antoinette was literally royalty. She was a princess who grew up in palaces, and Kylie Jenner was born into an upper middle class, lower upper class family. She grew up in a huge $1 million mansion in Calabasas, California, which is notoriously one of the most expensive places to live in America. So yeah, they both grew up very comfortable. These girls grew up blissfully privileged during this time period, and they would both have something that they would crave much later on in life. But we'll get to that soon enough. Let's talk about mamas. Beyond the surface level parallels of both of these women's childhood, both Kylie and Marie Antoinette had powerful mothers who were the head matriarchs of their families. Teresa, Marie Antoinette's mother, was the Archduchess of Austria and the Queen of Hungary. And Kris Jenner, Kylie Jenner's mother, is the leader behind an insanely influential media and business empire. Both mothers were calculating and strategic. Teresa played the political game very well, and Kris Jenner played the media game very well. Both women were also rumored to have clear favorites based on whichever child benefited them the most, whether that be financially or politically. These two mothers were never afraid to leverage their children as social and political capital. They often used their children to expand their respective empires. Marie Antoinette's mother focused on strengthening her kingdom and making powerful allies for her empire, while Kylie Jenner's mother focused on building her family's business and media empire and securing fame for her children. So why should we care about these girls' mothers? Like, what do they have to do with any of this? Well, both Marie Antoinette and Kylie Jenner's mother are responsible for huge life-altering events in both of these girls' lives. At age 10, Kylie began to live out her life in front of the watchful E! News cameras for her family's reality TV show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Kylie began to have her life filmed every day and televised for millions of people to see. She was opened up to both criticism and adoration from a very young age, just as the popularity of social media sites such as Twitter and Instagram began to emerge. At age 14, Marie Antoinette was thrust into the rigid French courts and ripped away from her close-knit friends and family in Vienna to be married off to a French prince. She had to leave everything behind: her friends, her family, even the clothes off of her back. And she went from living with her very close-knit family to an extremely lonely life under the watchful French court. Once the couple was married, Marie Antoinette often complained about the fact that they had audiences for meals, and the newlywed couple even had an audience as they entered the bedchambers for the first time, which is it's pretty creepy. At such a young age, both women were under constant surveillance and scrutiny from the public, which neither of these women really decided for themselves. Marie Antoinette was promised to be married off by her mother, and Kylie Jenner's life began to be broadcast for millions to see under the signage of her mother. And before these two women stepped into their own, they often spent a lot of their teenhood life trying to appease the wants of their mothers. And I mean, like, same. So for Kylie Jenner, at the height of her popularity, you can observe her being set up to be the next Kim Kardashian, who is her older sister, right? She had her own reality TV show, which I don't really think people watched it like that because it only had one season and then it got canceled. But that's not really the point. The point is, she was being set up to be the next Kim Kardashian. She had the reality TV show, she had the rapper boyfriend, the whole shebang. And for Marie Antoinette, her mother often urged her to sway French policies and reforms in favor of the Austrian crown. The Archduchess wanted Marie Antoinette to follow in her footsteps and make a real political impact. And to Marie's credit, she did try, but I'm not sure she made the political impact that her mother had in mind. But once these women found financial success and discovered their independence, that's when we really see these two young women transform into the controversial figures that we know today. At age 18, Marie Antoinette became the Queen of France, and she found herself with basically unlimited funds and a lot of free time, which she spent on lavish parties, gambling, and drinking. At age 17, Kylie Jenner moved out of her mother's house and created a makeup brand that would end up making her a billionaire, allegedly. She would also find herself partying and drinking and experiencing the best luxuries that life had to offer. You see where I'm going with this? So this is when both women really stepped into their wealth, and we, the public, were introduced to the lavish spending habits of these two ladies. And around this time period, this is when Kylie Jenner and Marie Antoinette began to really have major cultural impacts. Okay, so Kylie Jenner and Marie Antoinette, they dropped bags on a lot of stuff, but the main three categories that they really dropped stacks on were fashion, real estate, and parties. You know, my favorite things about capitalism. From custom balmain dresses to elaborate poofs, these girlies really knew how to buy clothes. Marie Antoinette spent roughly $20,000 a day on clothing, and she often went over her clothing allowance. I mean, could you imagine how $20,000 would change your life? And she was spending this in a day. She spent around $160,000 on clothes each year at a time period when the average person in France earned less than $100 a year. And now, no shade to Miss Antoinette, but Miss Jenner was kind of eating her up in the spending department, at least when it came to clothes. This custom balmain dress that Kylie Jenner wore for her 23rd birthday party cost $24,000. Her bag collection alone is estimated to be worth more than $1 million. I mean, all Kylie Jenner has to do is wear her crocodile Himalayan Birkin bag, and that's worth triple of what Marie Antoinette spent in a year. But these two ladies didn't know just how to spend money on fashion. They also knew how to make an impact on the fashion industry. No, like seriously, Kylie Jenner and Marie Antoinette are two of the most influential figures in terms of fashion. Marie Antoinette, in this unassuming cotton gown, not only went 17th century viral, but she single-handedly created a boom in the American cotton industry. Yes, that cotton industry. The slave population in the American South almost doubled because of the popularity of cotton, due to everyone wanting to look like their favorite French influencer. And although the Instagram BBL baddie aesthetic was already popular amongst the Black community, it was really Kylie Jenner that pushed the aesthetic out to the mainstream masses and inspired millions of people to replicate it. People still talk about Kylie Jenner's King Kylie era because that's how popular and how impactful it was on the fashion industry. Specifically, the fashion industry's relationship with consumers through social media. The amount of Fashion Nova jeans this picture has sold, it has to be an ungodly amount. Marie Antoinette is actually credited as the first couture buyer, and designers still reference her till this day. I mean, numerous designers have collections inspired by Marie Antoinette, and both women are key identifiers to specific eras of fashion. Marie Antoinette had several properties. She had a miniature summer apartment, a massively renovated private chamber, and most famously, Marie Antoinette's Hamlet, which was literally a small palace. It had many apartments, dozens of cottages, and gorgeous gardens. Kylie Jenner also shared the same knack for real estate. She owns several multi-million-dollar mansions, or should I say palaces. Her main home is worth $36 million, and it has 7 bedrooms, 14 bathrooms. Jesus, In Christ, who needs that many bathrooms? Its own movie theater, a gym, a sports center, a swimming pool, and 4, yes, you heard me, 4 guest houses. So in case you haven't realized it by now, they're like super rich. And what do rich people love to do?
Young Corn.
No, seriously, these two girls are known to throw some pretty sick ragers. For her 22nd birthday, Kylie Jenner chartered a 300-foot super yacht to sail along the Western Mediterranean for $1.2 million a week. And Kylie Jenner is known to really go all out for her children's birthday parties. Marie Antoinette famously celebrated her 21st birthday with an extravagant birthday party that lasted for 32 hours. Jesus. I need the name of her dealer. The party was filled with dancing, drinking, and a lot of gambling. I told you, these two girls really know how to party. And these women were and are seemingly living the life that most of us can only dream of. But as we know, all that glitters is not gold. Remember at the beginning of the video when I said,
these girls grew up blissfully privileged during this time period, and they would both have something that they would crave much later on in life.
As time went on and Kylie Jenner and Marie Antoinette matured, they realized that what they really wanted, what they really craved was anonymity, privacy, a little bit of normalcy. As Kylie came into her own, she realized that fame wasn't really her thing.
For this life, and some people are, and I just know I'm not supposed to be famous. Like, I can feel it deep down inside. I'm not supposed to be famous.
Eventually, when Kylie Jenner became pregnant with her first child, Stormi, she would take a huge step back from the public eye and scale down the flexing, at least a little bit. And she would often express the desire to do normal poor people stuff, like go grocery shopping and go to the car wash.
I just want to do normal things with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what would you like to do?
I just think when I'm pregnant, I just want to feel really normal.
I have not been to a grocery store in 2 years.
I haven't been to a grocery store in forever. I want to go to the grocery stores and pick my own things.
Me too. It's
We need
good
to start
for our
getting. It's
souls.
good for our soul.
And the same goes for Marie Antoinette. She often escaped to her hamlet on the palace grounds with her children and her closest friends, and they would dress up as commoners. It was like a family trip to Universal, but instead of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, it was like the horrible world of French peasants. You know, to be fair, I was halfway through a bottle when I wrote that line, and it's corny. But I kept it in to keep me humble. But as it turns out, people don't like it when ludicrously rich celebrities cosplay as poor. So while up to this point, both women were already on shaky terms with the general public, as more of their respective populations fell into economic hardships, the general public really turned on them. As the French crown racked up on enormous debts due to fighting in revolutions and wars all over the globe, its people suffered. And finding out that the queen was running around pretending to be poor for a few days and then going back to a palace that was filled literally with gold didn't really go over well with the French people. And during the pandemic, when millions of people died and more millions of people lost their jobs, Kylie Jenner thought it was appropriate to take to Instagram and post a picture of her diamond Birkin bag that can cost up to $260,000. And soon after, people began calling out Kylie Jenner for the usage of her private jet on a 3-minute flight to avoid traffic. Many people felt it was insensitive considering the climate crisis that we're facing. Once the public turns on you in this way, it's really hard to win back their affection. You know, the higher they climb, the harder they fall. And people were really ready to dethrone these queens. And how do they plan to do it? Well, everybody loves a little gossip. Both Kylie Jenner and Marie Antoinette were victims of vicious and salacious rumors. And interestingly enough, even the rumors spread about both women were similar. They were both accused of sapphic behavior with their best friends and also incestuous behavior as well. Historically, gossip has been used to knock down people who are in positions of power down a few pegs. For Kylie Jenner, this means that she's not really viewed as cool anymore. And while she'll always be rich and famous, her influence has significantly dwindled over the past few years. For Marie Antoinette, these rumors had much more deadly consequences. These shade room style pamphlets helped turn the French public against the crown and led to the eventual of the queen. So why? Why do these two women evoke such a similar reaction from the public in the way that they do? No, seriously, why? I didn't really finish writing this part of the script, so I'm asking you, like, off the top of my head, I really think that these two women became a symbol for the wasteful excess of the elite. They became a symbol for class imbalance and a symbol of apathy for those who suffer at the hands of their frivolous spending. And then you combine that with the fact that throughout history, women have always been an easy target for vitriol and aggression. Especially young women and teenage girls. They're often perceived as easy targets and the perfect scapegoats. Society kind of hates teenage girls. We already knew that though. So for Marie Antoinette, she became the scapegoat for the misuse of French funds by the French crown. She was not the one who decided to fight these wars, but because she was still spending so much money, she became the focal point for a lot of hate. And you can see the same thing for Kylie Jenner. You know, she's not the one who necessarily caused climate change. She's not the one who caused a horrible response to the pandemic, but she became a focal point because she was spending all this money, going on these private jets and putting it on Instagram for people to see. With Marie Antoinette back then, every dress that she wore was put on display for anyone to come and see. So imagine you're a French person who is literally starving, you know, making less than $100 a year, and you walk up and you see all of these basically like custom Balmain, custom Versace dresses just there, and you're seeing the Palace of Versailles. Yeah, I think I'd be a little angry too. And I truly think this is why Kylie Jenner and Marie Antoinette are similar in so many ways. So is Kylie Jenner the modern day Marie Antoinette? Well, I pass this question on to you, dear viewer. Do you think that Kylie Jenner is the modern day Marie Antoinette? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for spending time with me as I just threw up information at you. I have some other stuff for you to watch if that's your thing. Subscribe so I can continue to inflate my ego, and I will see you all next Friday.